Welcome to sports fans. It is the MKT Show, Tuesday, the 12th of January in the COVID year 2021. Um, Garrett Cliff, MKT, Cliff Central Sport. Welcome to it. Let's get into it today. Where I was right, where I was wrong. Start off with that, and we'll get into a little bit of Test cricket and why I think Test cricket is king. MKT inspires on all social media platforms. MKT, Mike Killer Tango inspires. Otherwise, Cliff Central Sport across the board, Cliff C Sport on the Twitter machine. Okay, so listen, all of us make mistakes. We're people, and to be legitimate, you got to say where you're right, where you're wrong. That gives it legitimacy. You got to be honest. That's what people want. People want honest, right? Hey, big opportunity tonight. Manchester United, they could go top of the league outright playing Burnley tonight. So big night for them. Big night for them. All right, let's get into it. The MKT show, where I was right, where I was wrong. Where I was right, I think it's clear now. Anybody who's watching, the Liverpool thing's over. The little run they had. I mean, it's been 30 years, one title. It's over now. They gave it a whirl. It was nice. It was, as with any heavy metal football, heavy metal can be cool when you're hanging out with certain friends for like one song, right? You can have hip hop, jazz, alternative for 15 songs in a row. You can have heavy metal for maybe half a song. You've had that. Liverpool, it's tired, they jaded, the players are done, and Van Alden's out of there. I think Mo Salah might be out of there this season. Jurgen Klopp's blaming Manchester United. I said at the beginning of the season, these dynasties, or it's not a dynasty, these runs don't last forever. 3 seasons max. It's the 3rd season. They've capped out, and they looked exhausted against Southampton. Just forget it. It's done. Right? I was dead right there. I called that at the beginning of the season. It wasn't hindsight where I was right. Where I was wrong. Listen, I thought Christian Pulisic this year, I had some concerns about the injury, but I thought, okay, they kind of managed it well. I thought he'd go to the next level. The next level is David Silva, right? Paul Scholes in his youth. They would literally, Roy Keane, when you have that figure where the talent is as good as anything in the league, but then the personality comes into it and you take over the game. You think of Cristiano Ronaldo in his last season. He would quite literally grab the game. And I think it's probably the criticism of Kevin De Bruyne right now without David Silva is he's still not grabbing the game and making sure that it's played at his pace, as they call it in Spanish football, la pausa, where it looks like the guy's got an extra second on the ball and he dictates everything. Kevin De Bruyne's output, great. Pulisic does nice things, but he hasn't become Captain America. Right? Whether that's because he's playing on the left and not in the middle like he does for America. I thought Pulisic would take it next level, and he hasn't shown that character yet. Chelsea are struggling. Is that a part of it? Well, greatness transcends that. You lift mediocre to good, you lift good to great, and he has not been able to do that. And you got to say Chelsea are good. I mean, they're not horrible. So Pulisic's got the environment where get a little nastier and start screaming at people, demand the ball, get in some positions to make a difference. And I think he's been lacking that character that Ronaldo had and Messi has. David Silva would have it in those crucial moments. Aguero would have it. Drogba would have it in the past. Henry would do it where he would go, all right, enough of this. We're struggling. Give me the ball. It's 2-0. Good night, nurse. Pulisic hasn't had those moments, especially with Chelsea being so dominant in so many games and ultimately squeezing out draws or losing ultimately in the final minutes. So I was wrong there. Where I was right, Jamie Vardy's a Premier League legend, and we've seen now without him and with him what Leicester look like. Really, it's night and day. It's night and day. He's unbelievable. I don't care what you say. He may not be Aguero. He may not be Drogba. He may not be Henry. By Premier League standards, he's a legend. And what I was talking about with Pulisic now, Jamie Vardy's got that. Now, I don't know if it's that street thing, but listen, he's Pulisic's a Yinzer. He's from Pittsburgh, a Rust Belt kind of guy. He's got that nastiness in him, or maybe he doesn't. Right? He was the chosen one from a young age. Maybe he's been too protected. We'll find out over the next 18 months. But Jamie Vardy's about that action. He is Leicester through and through. Premier League legend. I was dead right there. Where I was wrong, Ralph Hasenhüttl and Southampton. Listen, when they lost 9-0 last season to Leicester, I thought, auf Wiedersehen, as they say. No, sir. He's proved me wrong. They're going to be top 8, top 9, and the budget is ridiculous. They sell players to Liverpool. It's obviously Liverpool's B team. They are constantly having their talent. It's the best development probably program in English football history, or at least modern history, and they just keep churning them out. Man United lap them up, and Liverpool keep lapping them up. The scouting, whatever's in the water down there by the beaches in Southampton, is phenomenal. Hasenhüttl's been phenomenal. What he's done brilliantly is a female trainer I had. She was probably the greatest trainer, and she was really a psychologist I had as a young footballer when I was in the UK. Used to have a great saying. She said, "We don't play to the scoreboard, we play to a standard." What she meant was, I don't care if it's 4-0, we have a culture here. Everybody must outwork the other team. And she would be on us at every single training session, and it makes sense. Hasenhüttl saying, character over everything. I don't care that we lost 9-0. He got rid of the guys he didn't want. And listen, it's all him now. So I was dead wrong there. I thought he'd be out. Where I was right, Test cricket is best. I mean, we've just watched probably the best cricket we've seen in the last 18 months. I include the World Cup final. This last day of the last 2 days of India-Australia were out of this world. A roller coaster emotional ride. I was dead right. Test cricket is king. T20 cricket, nowhere near it. I'll talk a little bit about it a bit later. Where I was wrong, Australian cricket are in huge trouble. Because I've been thinking about it, right? I was looking at some of the stats, looking what's going on. David Warner's not going to be around forever. I think Warner's the last real test opening batsman that's left. Dean Elgar's not in the same class. I like Elgar, but he's just not in that class. And people keep telling me he's made the most runs, I think, in the last 2 years. Listen, I think he's averaging 40, and don't count Sri Lanka. Warner's averaging 46 opening the batting, and he's been unbelievable. But he's the last real, genuine article. If you look at the proper teams around the world, I don't think there's a proper test opener left. But what that means is I also have to be honest on the other side. What they have is 3 world-class bowlers, right? An aging Mitchell Starc. So he's probably, they got 2.5, because I think Starc is magnificent and he can give you 2 or 3 overs here and there. He's aging though. But in Hazelwood and Cummins, I think they've got 2. Listen, on their day, they're unplayable. But the problem for Australia is they're not a good team, because teams are not just about talent. We're seeing it with Chelsea. You're probably, if you're a Man United fan, you might think you're talented. Teams are about balance and leadership. Australia are missing both of those things. Tim Paine's not a captain. Forget it, right? But the other problem is the balance. Is they don't have another opener, and they have no middle order. What they have, right, is Smith and Labuschagne. Nobody else in the Australian team can bat. Warner, I don't know what's happening with the injuries, but I think, I don't know if you're going to have him. So you got 3 guys in the top order doing the job of 7 people, because nobody else can bat in the Australia team. There's nobody else I can rely on to give me a 45 average. That's a problem. And what the other real problem is, I like Nathan Lyon. But you can't ask your 3 bowlers to be workhorses, number one, and then be your wicket takers. Right? That job's almost impossible. What made Sean Pollock and Alan Donald great? Makhaya Ntini's the workhorse. Balance. What made this last South African bowling lineup so great? Right? Dale Steyn you're clearly our best bowler. Right? Philander, you're clearly our best bowler. Those are guys who are going to be our wicket takers. Rabada, Morkel. You understand, gentlemen, that you're going to be bowling 21 overs a day. We don't want to talk about it. You're the workhorse. You cannot ask Cummins to be bowling 21 overs a day. And it's happening with greater regularity. It's because Nathan Lyon can't take enough wickets. And I'll tell you what the other problem is Australia don't make those 450s anymore. 450, 500, get into... Because 338 in that first innings is ridiculous, especially with the way Smith batted. Can Tim Paine and the lads and Wade not give me 150 between them? 250 between them? Between the rest of them? Get us to 450, get us to 500, we bat once, and then we give the bowlers probably, we can go with an aggressive field and we can win. Australia have a big, big problem. I was dead wrong. They're not a good team. They've got transcendent talent in Labuschagne, Smith, and then Cummins, and I think Hazelwood. That's the magic 4 for them. The rest, I'm seeing mediocrity and aging. I was wrong. Australia doesn't have a great team. They've got a transcendent talent. Where I was right, look, I said that rugby's amateur. And I've said this from the beginning. Anybody who's been listening from the beginning, I said the product is still in the dark old days. It is an amateur product. And now it's not just my opinion. Think about the last time you wanted to actually get excited about a rugby game. Don't blame lockdown, because I've watched the NBA, the NFL, Test cricket, because I don't care what you say, West Indies, England, which was the first series back, was unbelievable. No fans, COVID, but it was a great product. They found a way to produce the product, right? Rugby has been a mess from top to bottom. And you know what COVID's done? I'm afraid, and I know it's tough, some people have lost our jobs. Let's just speak about the sporting context and what business is. Folks, COVID is not shutting your business down. COVID did not shut your business down. It exposed the problems in your business. Rugby is a mess, not because of COVID. It's because it was amateur. It was an analog product in a digital time. And I said it at the beginning, I got blowback. Think of the last time, like, who cares what's happening in South Africa, France, or English rugby right now? Nobody. Don't you dare blame COVID. NFL, NBA, Premier League, and ultimately cricket, even cricket got it right. And I think that's still a semi-amateur product. Rugby is a joke. Get the old administrators out. Can we just get some people with juice in rugby? I mean, I look at the panels at the IRB, the people that are still in charge in South African rugby, Australian rugby, and the only team that got it right is who? And the only country who got it right. And I've said this before, New Zealand. You know why? Because they run it like a professional rugby team. The All Blacks and the whole institution is run like a Formula One team. They are the only country in the world that's had an exciting and a proper professional tournament. Forget about the fact that they don't have lockdown regulations. They put out a world-class product in an impossible time. And the greatest difficulty in business is pivoting. They pivoted like that. The rest of rugby, it's a joke, and I was dead right there. Where I was wrong, I said Aubameyang was world-class. Listen, he's not. Here's what's non-negotiable in being world-class. I don't care about talent. There's talented people everywhere. Is character. I'm not going to have Aubameyang sulking for three months, and then things are going to turn around now. He's going to start scoring goals, and people go, oh, he's great. Listen, I don't care about my girlfriend being great when we've both got 2 jobs and everything's going great at work. You know, when I care about a world-class girlfriend, a world-class partner, a world-class parent, what happens when she's sick, her mother's sick, and she's about to get fired at work? What then? Because that's when I need world class to lift decent to good, good to great. Aubameyang, I'm afraid, if you're Arsenal, be very, very careful what you wish for. I'd consider shipping him because he's shown me what he is now. And when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Aubameyang showed you that when things get tough, because why is he siding with the dressing room? His job is to side with Arteta and Arsenal. So when people are sulking, we've clearly seen David Luiz, there are some problems. He's clearly picked the dressing room and he wants to be a cool guy with gold supercars. I don't want that as my captain, and I don't want that as anything being told about world class. I said it to you before. There's a reason Dortmund let him go that easily, because I thought, no, this is impossible. And it was like, what, 60 million? And I thought, no way. Because people, I mean, Coutinho had just gone for 130. And you thought to yourself, Aubameyang's better than Coutinho, isn't he? But then when you see this character defect, you go, light on. Oh, this is the problem. Dortmund saw him every day at practice. Listen, you can lie to the media. You can lie to everyone on Instagram. You cannot lie to people inside the dressing room. Dortmund said 60 million, listen, take our hand off. We'll cut your hand off to take 60 million. It's a character issue. It's not a talent issue. Aubameyang's not world class. I was dead wrong on that. Finish off on this, where I was right. Steve Smith is the best of this generation. Everybody's been trying to kill him. Sandpaper gate, this, that. When adversity strikes, you see character. That innings of 131, when things were shaky, and this series has been problematic for him. Again, the Phoenix will always rise from the ashes. Steve Smith is the best of this generation, 62 average, and now he's going to get, he's close to 9,000 runs. Folks, it's not a blip. It's not a trend. It's a trend now. It's a real thing. This is not who we think he is. This is exactly who he is. Love him or hate him, folks. Great is great. Just appreciate it. Great, whether it's, you know, girlfriend, boyfriend, mom, dad, it comes along so rarely. When it's in our presence, can we just stop criticizing it, please? Stop criticizing great. When you have it, you may never see Steve Smith again. You may never see Tiger Woods again. You may never see LeBron James again. You may never see Lewis Hamilton again. Just revel in it. You can hate it if you don't support that team. Listen, I'm South African. I'm compelled to hate Australia. But there's a level when people transcend and you're like, okay, well, that's just great. That's just too good. If you're a sports fan, sometimes you got to go and cry into your pillow like all good adults should do. Never cry in public, cry into your pillow. But just admit he's great. I was dead right. I've said along, this is the greatest batsman we've ever seen. We've at least ever seen. There's been nothing like this. Not at this rate. Folks, stop giving me 20,000 runs Sachin Tendulkar. You know what the denominator you need to look for? AVG stands for average. 62. Are you kidding me? Phenomenal stuff. I was dead right there. Where I was wrong, finish off on this. Listen, Los Blancos. Talk about it. Listen, talk about a pivot. I thought Zinedine Zidane was done. Beginning of the season, they looked like a pub team. They're back. Los Blancos, Los Merengues are back, and they are better than ever. Listen, that Vinicius is a problem. The world is about to have a problem there. You give him one more season, he gets on that right diet. I think Eden Hazard, they could probably sell him to some Belgian team to retire. All right, bad investment. Listen, Real Madrid doesn't care about money. They got the whole crown is paying for Real Madrid. Don't you worry about them. And they have the most obnoxiously wealthy man in football. The Batman, I believe the Lex Luthor of football in Florentino Perez. Don't you worry about money. They will move off Eden Hazard like this. If he doesn't get his body into shape tomorrow, they will move off him like this. Los Blancos, I was dead wrong. Zizou, I was dead wrong. Listen, they're going to be a problem in the Champions League because Sergio Ramos is coming back, and I think that Vinicius, my oh my, Brazil have another one. If you haven't been watching Real Madrid, I'm a big Real Madrid fan. My God. Because Vinicius is now carrying that team as well. Now it's not like it's what Pulisic should be doing for Chelsea. It's what Vinicius is doing. He's going, listen here, you guys, this is Real Madrid, guys. And let me show you why they said, I'm the next guy. I'm the next phenomenon out of Brazil. And he's scary. That's where I was wrong. So that's where I was right. That's where I was wrong. Love to know what you think. MKT Inspires on social media. That's Mike Kilo Tanga. Otherwise, hit me up, sport@cliffcentral.com. By the way, great to get your emails. Listen, I love reading the emails. I don't always get back to emails, but it doesn't mean I'm not sort of thinking about it and taking it all in. So fantastic. Please keep the emails coming in. Whatever your thoughts on my opinion on sport, what you love about sport, what it means to you. Listen, we all remember our first game with our parents or whatever. What made you fall in love? Like, I love hearing stories about what made you fall in love with cricket, rugby, tennis, whatever it may be. I certainly have my story, why I love football and tennis. My old man was into it. I love to hear, sport to me, as I've always said, as particularly football, it is the working class ballet for me. I love it. I come from a working class family, so we've always loved football, and football's been the thing in my household forever. But sport and being active has been that in my life. So sport@cliffcentral.com. Feel free to hit me up. Otherwise, Cliff Central Sport on all social media platforms. Otherwise, MKT Inspires. All right, let's take some comments and then we'll move on. I'll finish off with why I think Test cricket is showing that it'll be king and it'll survive this blip. All right, let's hear it. Oh, if it isn't good old Cameron Booth. Good old Cameron Booth in the UK, he says. Hi, MKT. Hope you're doing well. Oh, by the way, I'm from Centurion, not the UK. No worries, though. Oh, Centurion. Listen, Cameron, I ran to Centurion in the holidays. You need to move to the north of Johannesburg. If you're an international viewer, this will obviously make no sense to you. Just move out of Centurion. Like, Cameron, I love you, but just move out of there. Nothing good happens there. Elon Musk had to move all the way to America to get out of that part of the world. You just do the right thing. Come, listen, we got everything here. We got tashes. We'll make you feel comfortable. We'll have lattes. Just come to the north of Johannesburg. So Cameron saying, because yesterday I thought he was in the UK. Cam, sorry, I'm turning 35 this year, so I'm actually really, really old and past it. Guhle says, what do you think about the takeover that happened at the Sharks? Guhle, I tell you what, I'm going to hold that because sometime next month we got something special regarding that whole takeover. And I don't want to, I'm trying to set something up. I guess you'll kind of figure out, we're trying to set up a conversation with one or two of the people that are involved in that takeover. I think it's phenomenal, if you're asking my opinion, gun to my head. But I will explain, and hopefully that interview, I don't want to, what do they say in American media? I don't want to bury the lead. So that for me will be something big for us as we transition in February. By the way, look out for some stuff coming out in February. Things are about to change in a good way. We don't always change for the sake of change, but we're good. We're gonna change and make it better. To everybody who's listening here and watching, it's been awesome to have your support. Without it, I wouldn't have been driven enough to kind of change and say this thing's gonna work. And I think it's awesome that people are so thirsty for information and to consume sport in a different way. And thank you for interacting, because that makes it all worth it. So, Guhle, I think it's awesome. We're headed in the right direction. That consortium from America, they're going to bring a little bit of that here. Listen, folks, it's always, I'm not one for something is better than nothing. So sometimes, though, it's better to be late than never get there, right? I don't like it's better than nothing, but you got to start somewhere, right? Maybe they're the flag in the ground that says, hey, over here, and you know my thoughts, Guhle. I've always said, is we need that attitude, we need that business. China, America, you need to go global. So the Sharks this is awesome. I think they're going in the right direction, and I hope to have something special for you if you're a Sharks fan, which it sounds like Guhle might be, or he's just a sports fan. We'll have something special for you, hopefully, by the latest end of February. Cameron says, the last time I was excited about rugby was 2007 Super 14 final. That's when Frans Steyn, by the way, made the most ridiculous mistake. So if you're a Bulls fan and living in Centurion, Cameron probably is. Frans Steyn, kick that ball out, because then Brian Habana goes and breaks every single surfer's heart, right? On the promenades of, I remember the depression of Sharks fans. I can't remember where I was, but I'm good friends with. Back then I knew some guys that played for the Sharks and have gone on to have tremendous rugby careers in England. They were in my year, but I remember what that did to them. Frans Steyn has the biggest boot in maybe the history of rugby. Just kick that thing out. What is he doing? Unbelievable. I don't know why he's going for distance, but Cameron, listen, I'll speak more about my thoughts on rugby throughout the week. You've actually, you've uncovered it, but I couldn't agree with you more. And maybe we'll talk about why I think Super Rugby's failed. And Cameron makes a good point. It's been tough to get excited about that tournament and even the global game. Like, All Blacks against Springboks isn't special anymore. They play too often. I think the lockdown and coronavirus, I think, may help rugby, because here's the thing about life. Either you can change yourself, or life will always force your hand. Either way, it's going to be painful, right? And it's always easier if you change yourself in life. Well, what's happened with rugby is now it's going to be really painful, because you're getting forced to change. You know how it is when you're a child. Is if your parents make it seem like your idea, you generally take up the idea quicker. When your parents force you, you kind of get a proverbial middle finger out. Now, I would never have middle fingered my parents, because my mom and my dad would have slapped my head off my shoulders, but you get what I'm saying. So, Cameron, I'm with you. Oh, look who it is. Oh, my goodness. If it isn't good old Jesse Randloff, good old Arsenal faithful Jesse, who tells me I hate Arsenal, and I don't hate Arsenal. But Jesse says, yeah, I agree. Aubameyang is the Gabonese Jamie Vardy. He's a world-class finisher. I agree with you, but I'd rather have Jamie Vardy. And I know people say I'm crazy. I like the character of Jamie Vardy. I don't like the soft. Listen, I don't like the Aubameyang soft. He's soft because what he wants is to be liked. I don't want my world-class leaders to be liked. I've always said I want to have a slight distaste. I don't want like Donald Trump dislike for my leaders, because then that's not sustainable, right? Right? I want to be able to trust my leaders to say, I know what they're going to be like Monday to Sunday, right? I want to know what I'm getting, but I also want to have a slight dislike for them. They must have that edge, because you know why I want my leadership to go against me sometimes? Sometimes is that I know at some stage is, as a person, I'm selfish. I always want to serve my needs, but leadership must serve the group needs. So if the leader's concern is being liked, and he's always going to pander to being liked, what happens when he has to make a decision that's going to make us win overall, which may go against what's good for me, right? What's good for the goose isn't always good for the gander. I've never understood that saying, and I've never agreed with it. So I take Jamie Vardy, but I do take I take the thought that they're both class finishers. Jesse says that's what you wanted, and it's slowly happening. The Sharks, speaking about once again that professionalism going global, it is, Jesse, and I'm excited for rugby as a global product, because I think when New Zealand and South Africa start to take it seriously, just stop talking about Northern Hemisphere rugby. No one cares. It's a retirement league and they play such boring rugby. It's tough to sell European rugby. Like Cheslin Colby, I'm sorry. I love Cheslin. I love him because he's South African and he's a hero. I love him. I love his story from nothing to everything, and he's changed his family life forever. I love that part. But Cheslin Colby, there's another 30. If I go to the Co Bokkerveld right now, there's another 30 of Cheslin Colby. We'll pick them off in the Co Bokkerveld, put them on a gym program, and we got another Cheslin Colby. He goes up north. It's like Rupeni Dardan Mboka. And that shows how old I am. If you don't know who that is, go and Google the greatest finisher in rugby history. His name, Rupeni Dardan Mboka. Cheslin Colby comes to South African rugby. He's just another guy. I'm sorry. He's just another guy. JP Peterson went up north. They thought, oh my goodness, the return of Jonah Lomu. He's unbelievable. Damien Deerlander's up there, and they think it's Tana Umanga. Folks, it's world rugby, the bedrock is New Zealand and South Africa. I don't care what anybody says. Stop telling me England are good. Stop telling me the French top 14 is good. Nonsense. Even in amateur times, right? There's 7 Super Rugby teams. Even some of our teams would go and wallop every single team in Northern Hemisphere rugby 8 out of 10 times. The Crusaders could play the English Premier League and the European Super Cup at the same time, wouldn't need a break, and walk it. Unbeaten. Unbeaten. I don't want to hear it. We've got the best athletes in the world, and that's never going to stop. Because everybody keeps going, oh, the brain drain, the talent drain. Are you kidding me? New Zealand cannot wait. They cannot wait for Barrett to leave, for whoever's next. So do me a favor. But when New Zealand and South Africa are strong, that's all she wrote. So yeah, it is what I wanted. All right, we'll finish off with this one from Cameron Booth. He says, I'm originally from Durban, moved here for work, so I am a Sharks fan. Good for you. Hey, Cameron, good times, right? Good times. And listen, that coaching staff is for real at the Sharks. And by the way, they have a fullback who I think may be the next thing in world rugby. Their fullback is... my favorite rugby player of all time is Christian Cullen. They got something going on in the back there, right? You know who I'm talking about. And I'm a Lions fan, so I'm not going to speak about Sharks and Province in a positive light. Not right now. But the Sharks have something going. They've got great coaching structure. You have to be honest, because what they've done, you know how the Sharks, how you know that the Sharks are organized, is they haven't gone and picked everyone's best players, Bull style, Stormer style, back in the day when they were trying to have Habana and Jacques Vrie and John de Villiers and still couldn't win because they had Alistair Coetzee. The Sharks have done it the right way, is they're building the culture by having the right coach, and then everything you can see is falling into place. So, listen, their backline and what they got at fullback, that young man is, you know, he's going to have to get on that Springbok diet. You put another 5 kilograms on him. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. And then they got Spoonkosi, and then they got, I think the next guy who will be the Bok captain at 13, problems. That Sharks team's going to be problems. And now they're going to get some money? Are you kidding me? Oh, it's sickening for me as a Lions fan. It's sickening for me as a Lions fan. Listen, I'll finish off on this one. Ryan Alex Ferreira is clearly old like me. Rupeni Dardan. You go and look him up. At the Blues back in the day, you've never seen anything like it if you're a rugby fan. Everybody thinks these new kids that are playing now, the Surveyors and Milner Scudders, you think you're seeing good finishing? Trust me. Let me give you this little nugget before I finish off. After the show, go and Google Rupeni Dardan try against France. They lose about 50-10 or whatever, I think. World Cup, Rupeni Dardan against France. And you got to have it with commentary because the commentators nail it there. Right? That is the one game. There's another game, Rupeni Dardan scores a hat-trick against the Brumbies. Go and Google those 2 highlights when this is done and tell me that isn't the greatest finisher rugby's ever seen, but by a mile. And they had Joel Videri, by the way, before, who was... forget Jonah Lomu. I love Jonah Lomu. You've never seen anything like Joel Videri, right? Prime Joel Videri. I was watching rugby. I thought he's not human. And then Rupeni came along. We had 2 seasons of him. The phenomenon. So yeah, Ryan Alex Ferreira, clearly a bully like me. Cameron Booth and his the O's from Durban who like fishing at Dush would say that O was unbelievable. That's how they speak in Durban. Cameron, I don't know how my accent is. All right, let me finish off on this. Folks, Test cricket is king. I've said this before, and I will never stop saying it. Stop telling me about T20 cricket. Listen, I'm old. T20 cricket, they're moving, they're grooving. One-day cricket, colorful kits, awesome. Have it. It's important in the game, right? When you want to win in business, everybody wants to go, all right, traditional media, whatever, must go, and it's just digital. That's not the win. As with anything, as with every solution in life, we always want to swing the pendulum all the way to the other side, right? Is if you date a crazy drinking, partying person, you break up with them, you're like, you know what? I need a conservative librarian accountant. That's how people are, right? Is because we defer to our feelings. But really what you want is maybe a librarian that jet skis somewhere in the middle there. You don't need to go from, partying on Sunday nights to, I don't know, a choir girl. Like you probably want a librarian that maybe has that jet skis and hikes. There's somewhere in the middle. A hybrid is where you win. So you need T20 cricket. You need one-day cricket. But let's be very clear. And now it's not my opinion, is Test cricket is king. Tim Payne said something very interesting. He said, the pressure affected my mood, leadership, and performance in what we saw. He obviously dropped about 400 catches and he can't bat. So we saw all of that, and then there was the chirping, and there was all sorts of things happening with Tim Payne. I don't know what was going on there. He's maybe the worst VAR referrer you've ever seen in your life. So I don't know. But here's the thing in life, right? Is you don't know what you have until you know what you have. I'll say that again. You don't know what you have in life until you know what you have. By that, I mean, everybody is the best friend in the world, the best girlfriend in the world, the best boyfriend in the world, the best boss in the world when they're talking. And then what happens? Then the pressure comes. A COVID pandemic comes along. Then options are shut down. Then you can't travel. Then we're not comfortable. Then you got to pivot. Then people have to work at home. And then people have to teach their kids at home. And then you see that your boss actually is not a leader. He was just a micromanager working in a good structure company, and it exposes them. Right? That's what happened with Australia. Because the great Vince Lombardi said, fatigue makes cowards of all of us. We saw that with T-Pain. We saw with Australia, just a little bit of pressure that India put on them. Like, oh my goodness, how bad is Matthew Wade? How bad is T-Pain? Nathan Lyon's not good enough. And what is going on there? We saw a little bit of fatigue makes cowards of all of us. My point is this, right? People crumble when the pressure comes. And what Test cricket shows you is the full spectrum of cricket, of sport, because there's no other sport like that, right? Is good, bad. I mean, at some stage it was about Pujara, then Cummins came along, then Smith came along, then it was about a Bumrah, then there were the injuries. It was impossible for India to survive. You're not going to get that in a T20 game because T20 games are over in 5 overs, really. You take 6 wickets in 5 overs, it's over. Chris Gale makes 130 off 40 balls or whatever he does, it's over. Test cricket, Steve Smith made 131. They made 338. It looked impossible. You got 3 world-class bowlers coming in Australia against the Indians, 2 injuries. It's over, surely. Not so fast. Test cricket is the ultimate roller coaster. And what it will do is it's going to test all of your technical skills. But my favorite part, the real skill that matters in all of life, but particularly in all sport, is character. Because when we're tired, what do? We defer to our character. When you're tired, you're slightly meaner to people. That shows you something's wrong with you because that's your core character. Then you don't have the facade to hold or that energy to hold up that facade. And Test cricket is the ultimate drama. You are not getting that in T20 cricket, in ODI cricket. I'm not saying chuck that stuff away, but to the ICC, for goodness sake, because it's all about marketing. Folks, I work in the business. Please don't think T20 and one-day cricket have taken over. No, they've been positioned marketing-wise, and people are thinking, all right, new is always better. Well, this has shown you. And again, COVID shows you what the business model should be. What's the best cricket you've watched this holiday? Don't tell me it's Big Bash or IPL. You're lying to yourself. It's been West Indies, England, and it's been this series so far. In 18 months, we've not seen cricket like this in terms of, as South Africans, I don't care who wins. But my God, am I into it? And if you're a cricket fan, tell me I'm wrong. India, England, India, West Indies, when the Windies looked like they could do it. I was in there. No, one day cricket is like, oh, it's over. All right, turnover. That was a nice innings, nice catch. And we need it, by the way. I'm not old guy. I'm not old man yet. I mean, I'm 35 this year. I'm getting there, but I'm not old man, get off my front lawn yet. And ultimately, my final plea is if the ICC want to get it right now, and I believe in, listen, in sport, I'm just talking about sport, I believe in elitism. I don't want to watch mediocre. Nobody in the world has a right to be a professional sportsman. I have no time for like these people that want to more teams. Like SA Cricket's going to more teams. I think it's a terrible idea, but a conversation for another time. When England, South Africa, Australia, and India play one another, 5 test match series, I don't care about the rest. I don't want to see Sri Lanka in a 5 test match series unless they're playing West Indies or whatever, those other teams. They must sort it out. I actually don't care. The big 4, though, when they play England, Australia, right? England, Australia, South Africa, England. Or India, sorry. When those teams play each other, 5 test match series, and then fit the pajama cricket around it. Surely you've seen now in lockdown, because it showed us what the best is. Even if you love T20, you're kidding yourself if you don't think this last test match is the best cricket you've seen in 18 months. Test cricket is king, folks. Listen, fatigue makes cowards of all of us, and we saw that, and it's always awesome to see the character. That's what we watch. We watch cricket and sport for the personalities in the end. The talent, yes, it's a given. If they all get to that level, there's a level of talent. But you get to see the heroes and the villains and the anti-heroes. And you saw Tim Payne. You saw a side of him you will not like. He's not good enough to be in the team, and he's been exposed. And I am loving it. This last test match is going to be incredible. As Fergie always used to say, squeaky bum time. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. All right, folks. I'm MKT. This is Gareth Cliff. We are physical distancing. This has been awesome. You could have been with anybody tonight. Sport@cliffcentral.com. That's sport, no S. Give us some feedback. How are you feeling right now? What do you think of the year? Whatever sport it may be. What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? Somebody sent me an email saying, why do you never talk about Formula One? Because it is a snorefest. But again, when we improve, we got something for you, Formula One fans. Sport nobody cares about, but we will be bringing you... hey, big time sports show. I'm not going to just because, I'm self-centered, but I'm not that self-centered. I'm about the people. So don't you worry. I got your back. From the end of February, I hope you're going to like where we're going. Can't say too much. And I want to say, but we're working hard. But anyway, let's stay in the moment for now. Ladies and gentlemen, for tonight, you could have been anywhere with anybody, but you chose to be with me, which is a ridiculous choice, by the way. I mean, to look at this ugly face by choice is, my God. Get a girlfriend, get a boyfriend. What is your problem? What is wrong with you that you think this is a good way to spend time? But anyway, I thank you for it because I love doing this. Love having you with me, folks. For tonight, it has been an absolute pleasure. MKT, GR Cliff, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight, we are the hell out of here.